Hello YouTube, I am the Vesa Fire. And I arrived DOA. And how I work. This is the Vesta Fire Multitrack recorder model MR-108 that I got from a fellow YouTuber. Now, before I got it, he did say the tape transport was not working, and sure enough, when I tested it, this transport was completely dead. No fast forward, no rewind, no play, and certainly no record. However, as you can see, it is now working. I'll go into how I fixed that later on. One thing I will tell you for now is that it was not bad belts. This had a much more difficult problem to track down. The tape heads themselves seem to be in pretty good condition. I don't see any sign of a groove worn into the tape heads, and that's good because I reckon these heads would be pretty hard to replace. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's take a brief tour of the machine. Now, you must understand that I don't have a full understanding of how to work this yet, so I might get a few things wrong, but just bear with me. Right, so let's take a little brief tour of the machine. Obviously, we have the cassette deck with record, play, rewind, fast forward, stop and pause. I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can because my camera battery runs out. Even though I've got it fully charged, I only get about 30 minutes use out of it. It's ridiculous, the battery in this camera, but anyway. Got level meters, 4 level meters along there, various inputs and outputs at the top there, and at the bottom, headphones, microphones, and a punch-in out. I don't know what that's for though. So I'll go over what each of these inputs and outputs are for, and all these knobs and switches and stuff. Firstly, we have 4 tape out jacks, and there's one for each channel on the tape. Standard line out, line in, auxiliary in, and of course, like I already mentioned before, the headphones and the microphone inputs. Now these line inputs are mono, and they can be adjusted by these controls here, with volume and panning. This also doubles up as the tape channel mixer when listening through the line out. We've got left and right volume for the auxiliary in, and these controls over here are for left and right microphones. As you can see, we've got high and low equalization, which I guess you could think of as bass and treble because that's basically what they are. Got faders for each of the microphones. Couldn't think of anything to say, so I just said burr. Also got headphones and pitch control, and headphone on this seems to be quite strong, so I have it sort of there, where it's practically all the way off, but that's the only way I can get a comfortable listening level. And we'll go over what each of these switches do. We've got power on and off here. Remix, which just seems to mute everything apart from the aux and the microphones. Got DBX noise reduction, tape counter reset, VU meter mode switch, and record function switches. Now when the switches switch to PGM, only the meters on the left will respond, and they respond like an ordinary left and right stereo meter. But when I have it on track, we can monitor all 4 tracks on the tape and anything that's coming into the line in. Now as my camera battery's running out, I'm going to have to switch to the webcam in a minute, so get ready for terribly flickery picture and everything, but there's not much I'm going to be able to do about that. Lastly, I'll go over what the record function switches are for. And they're simply to select what tracks on the tape you want to record on. So I can record onto tracks 1 and 2 like on a normal tape recorder, or I can record onto tracks 3 and 4, or I could even do weird combinations such as 3 and 2 or 1 and 4, or just even record 1 channel at a time. Okay, now recording with the webcam, so sorry about the flickery picture, but at least don't have to worry about the mains power running out. But anyway, yeah. Now, recording on this thing can be a little bit difficult because it's not like recording on an ordinary tape recorder. You can't just press record and play and expect it to record. Now, I'm not going to record over this tape because it's got some nice music on it that I don't want to lose. So anyway, I'll just go a brief demonstration of how to record from this thing. Recording from the Aux-In or the microphone isn't too difficult. As you know, there is a left and a right aux and a left and a right microphone. And to control which tracks the left and the right are going to be recorded onto, let's say I want the left to record onto track 3 and the right to record onto track 2, I can certainly do that. The only difficult thing really is recording from the line inputs. I can record from 1 or 2 of these at a time, but in order to do that, let's say for now I wanted to record something from line 3. I'll just plug that in there. Got to make sure this remix switch is switched to TRK. So, got to make sure everything apart from the one that I want to record from is turned down, or 1z if I'm recording from more than one. And as in this case I want to record from line 3, I've got to put that onto track 3 because it will only record onto the tape track that the corresponding line is for. And of course, as line 3 is a left input, got to make sure it's not panned over to the right. And while I'm recording, if I turn up any of these that I'm not recording onto, it will mix in those tracks from the tape and the corresponding whatever's connected into the line in. So let's do some recording. Now I'm going to make a microphone recording and I want to record onto track 4, so I'll put that selector onto track 4, and as track 4 is a right track, I'll plug in the microphone into the right microphone input. Just test that it's coming in, but yeah, that's good. Make sure all these are turned down, although I could just switch that onto PGM and mute them that way, but I want to do some stuff. Okay, so we're ready to make a recording now. So I'll release the pause. And we are now recording onto track 4 onto the tape. I can mix in other channels from the tape. Okay, I don't know what that is, so I better not play it just in case it's copyrighted, which it probably is. I can mix in the music from the computer, which is connected to channel 4. Now as I'm recording on channel 4, it won't actually copy anything else from over the tape when I'm doing this. Groovy. Okay, let's hear this playback. Oh, I've still got the microphone on. Right, let's hear this playback. And we are now recording onto track 4 onto the tape. I can mix in other channels from the tape. Okay, I don't know what that is, so I better not play it just in case it's copyrighted, which it probably is. I can mix in the music from the computer, which is connected to channel 4. As I'm recording on channel 4, it won't actually copy anything else from over the tape when I'm doing this. Yeah, so as you can see, that works really good. Okay, so now I'm going to record something from the aux. Let's just get those levels sorted out. I hope it's not coming from the thing, which it is. Hang on, let me just disconnect that. Okay. We won't be able to hear what I'm saying. Just had to disconnect this from the tape recorder. Okay, so we got good levels there. Although the left seems to be a little bit thingy, but I think that's just how the music is. Now I want to have the right input on channel 2 and the left input on channel 3, and that's all ready now. I'm going to switch this to PGM to mute all these tracks here, and there we go. We're now making a recording from the aux with a weird track combination. I can even talk over this if I want to, which I'm kind of overdriving a bit there. You've got to make that noise when blues music is playing for some reason. Not bad. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot to say something. There we go. Okay, so I've just made a recording onto tracks 1 and 2 on the tape. And now I want to add a voiceover track on track 3, but listen to the tape while I'm recording that track, and I don't want it to copy anything over from the tracks that are already there on the tape. So, how am I going to do this? Well, first, since this is on tracks 1 and 2, plug those into track 1 and 2 on the tape out. Put the remix into PGM so nothing gets copied over from the tapes or the line in. Start this recording and I'll reset the tape counter so I know where I am. Select track 3, which is the track I want to record on. Make sure the microphone is plugged into the left input since I'm using track 3. Adjust the levels so I know what levels, so I've got the levels good. And we're ready to start recording. So I am now recording a separate track onto track 3. And as you can probably see from the response of the VU meters, nothing is getting copied over. This is recording this track entirely separately and not copying anything over from the other tape channels. Although it might be being picked up by the microphone a little bit. Okay, so let's play that back. Firstly, let's just listen to the track that I recorded. I am now recording a separate track onto track 3. And as you can probably see from the response to the VU meters, nothing is getting copied over. And now from the line out. Now this is going to buzz while I connect these. Sorry about that. But now with this I can mix the tracks as I please. I'm going to put track 3 in the centre. I'm also going to put the VU meters onto TRK so I can see all the separate tracks separately. Just wind that a little bit. Okay, and play. Separate track onto track 3. And as you can probably see from the response to the VU meters, nothing is getting copied over. This is recording this track entirely separately and not copying the other tape channels, although it might be being picked up by the microphone a little bit. Well, there we go. That's, I guess that concludes all the recording experiments. Now, let's see what I had to do to this to bring it back to life. Okay, so first of all, before I take this apart, got to make sure there's no tape in there, and just remove that so we can get this thing apart. There's several screws on the back. I'll just skip to when I've undone all these. So with all the screws out, this just lifts up. I'm trying to do this, but the camera kind of getting in the way here. And now we can see all the goodies inside. As you can see, this is absolutely crammed full of stuff. We've got circuit boards here, we've got circuit boards there, we've got circuit boards coming out my ass. Okay, maybe not coming out of there, but there's quite a lot of stuff in here. Anyway, what I had to do to this to make this work again is staring you right in the face, but it's not immediately obvious. Let's just move the camera in closer to the motor control part of the circuit board. Right, here we go. We can now see a close-up of the motor control part of the circuit board. But do you see anything in here that looks slightly out of place? Well, I'll give you a hint. It's right there. That's the little bugger that was causing all the trouble. Just one little transistor had shorted out, and that's why it wasn't working. And even though this isn't an exact replacement, this is a BD140, and I think the original was a something or other. Can't even remember. But anyway, replacing that little transistor has brought this thing back to life, and that's all I had to do. Oh, there was one other thing I had to do. I noticed after I got this thing working again that it wasn't erasing one of the channels on the tape, and that's just simply because one of the wires had come away from the erase head, but I fixed that, and it now works absolutely perfectly. So, let's put this back together and close this video. Thank you for watching this video about me. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. But until next time, goodbye.